Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? Special shout out to the Eagles. Congratulations on your win. I am a Patriots fan, but when credit's due, right? So congratulations on your win. Good job. You guys earned it. Alright, so tonight's video is about oftentimes I tell you guys about a scenario on my videos, and I tell you why it's important to do certain things. And one of the things I preach a lot of is torquing the bolt on the end of the flywheel for your magneto. Okay, so you get your magneto flywheel. Doesn't matter if it's electronic ignition. Doesn't matter if it's a four pole mag. It doesn't matter if it's a 3-pole or a 6. Okay, that bolt needs to be torqued, and it needs to be torqued on these bikes right here, from the KEs, the KMs, the MCs, the KDs, the G3, all these little rotary valve engines. The torque is all the same, 36 foot-pounds. Okay, plus or minus a pound. See, if you torqued at the 37, you're okay. If you torqued at the 35, you're okay. 36 is what they want you to hit it at. Okay, for that torque, I use a torque wrench. For those of you who don't know what a torque wrench is. Okay, do not use a ratchet and crank it down. That is not the proper way to do that, and you could actually be hurting your bike. Now, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. First, this threaded part right here that comes off your crank is not very strong. So you want to make sure you torque it, or you can actually rip it off. I've seen that happen. It gets all distorted and everything else. Okay, so you're probably asking what this video is about. So I'm going to explain to you what happened. Okay, so the engine that I was working on earlier, which was on a person's bike, I asked if I could do a video. They really don't want their bike on video because of the license plate, whatever. Understand, no problem. So I'm going to explain to you what happened. The threads, the nut that was on the flywheel, he had points. He had to keep taking the thing apart and to adjust the points and everything else. He's been having all kinds of ignition problems with the bike. Okay, he's gapped the points 500,000 times, he said, and still can't get the bike to run. So I said, I'll take a look at it. So anyway, turns out that he over tightened the threads using a ratchet. Just kept cranking down until he couldn't crank no more, and then it stripped it out, because these will strip out fast. All right. He's like, oh, I don't know what the torque was. I saw your video on it, but I didn't follow your torque spec. I didn't have a torque wrench. These you can rent. You can rent these at the parts store. And basically what they do for renting them, I know in my area, you end up paying full price for it to rent it, and then you get your money back at the end. So really, you're buying it and returning it. It's that simple. So anyway, he stripped out the bolt, the nut that goes on the end of it, okay, and didn't know he stripped out the nut. Okay, it started to go easy again, so he let off. Okay, that's tight enough. Okay, so basically what happened was he stripped it out. The bike ran fine. He downshifted, and when he downshifted, going down a hill, it actually caused engine braking. Which basically, when the flywheel's going at a steady speed, and then you engine brake, you spin this even faster. Okay, this automatically picks up the momentum. That inertia on a loose crank, I'm gonna show you what it did. I kept the old one just for this video. Okay, right there. Okay. So what you're looking at is the flywheel key that fits into this groove. Whoop, sorry about that. Fits into the groove on the crankshaft. Fits right in there. Now, as you can see, it doesn't stick up very far. Okay. When he over tightened his crank and stripped it out, he made a loose connection on the flywheel, on the crankshaft. So now this thing's chitter-chattering back and forth. Okay, When that thing was going back and forth because it wasn't properly torqued, it was loosening up. What is that doing? It's doing a couple of things. One, it's wreaking havoc on your ignition timing. Okay? It's causing a vibration. And then all of a sudden, it just breaks free and starts spinning. Okay? Here's why. What it was doing was it was hammering the key. See the difference between the sizes? There's that one and that one. This one, part of it sheared off. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can see where it broke. Let me see if I can get see the shininess? That's where it sheared off. It snapped it right there. Boom. Now the flywheel is just spinning over it. The other part of it, which is now cleaned out, but was in the groove of the flywheel. So part of it was in here and part of it was in the crank, and this right here was just spinning freely. Now here's the problem with all that. See this right here? That's your camel. That right there, that shiny spot, that's where your points ride and open and close. So basically, when you stick the broken one in, it's actually, now the flywheel key's in there. See what happens? You can spin it right over it. And that's with the flywheel key in. I'm not even turning the crankshaft right now. Okay, you can see the, actually I'll shrink it down, if I can. Apple phone, sorry. I can't shrink you down, this thing won't let me. But, if I move you back here. Alright. Alright, you can see the piston and you can see the flywheel. See, I'm going to turn the flywheel and the piston ain't moving. See? And that's because the flywheel key is broken. And that's all because he over-tightened the crankshaft with a ratchet. See? Flywheel key is still right where we left it. And then to get it out when they break, you have to use a pick. So a little pick, push it down on one end. Just like that. So, whenever you tighten down your magneto, make sure you torque the nut. It should go on your bike. It should have a lock washer and a nut. And the nut gets torqued down to 36 foot-pounds. Okay? So you're going to use the foot-pound scale and you're going to torque it down to 36 foot-pounds. It is imperative that you torque that bolt. 36 pounds. Okay? 36 foot-pounds. Make sure you torque that bolt. Do not rely on do not use an air ratchet, an air gun, any of those things. This is too fragile to take chances on. Make sure you torque it to 36 foot-pounds or you're going to have problems. And basically, the crankshaft is junk. Once you strip it, you can't retap it. You can't. It's junk. You're going to have to replace that half the crankshaft. And that can get costly. Not only that, you got to take apart the whole engine. You got to strip the case down. It's just a mess. It really honestly is. So, that's basically what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. On that bike is the flywheel keys. Make sure you torque that bolt down. 36 foot-pounds. Use a torque wrench. I don't care how long you've been doing this. I've been doing this for, like I said, quite a long time. Almost 30 years. I use a torque wrench. So, unless you know an act of God of tightening these things down without a torque wrench and have them land on 36 foot-pounds, then that's awesome. But for those of you who do not have that ability, use a torque wrench. it's the difference between saving your engine and causing a catastrophic failure like that, which ruins his crankshaft. It ruins the crankshaft. It ruins the flywheel key. The bike is down. Now you gotta take apart the engine. You just separate the case, get a new crank. Good luck finding them. It's a mess. Okay. So rent the torque wrench if you don't have it. Make sure you tighten that nut. Luckily, he had another motor he could throw on it, so I ended up with another motor for parts. But the point of it is, don't make a parts engine. It's not needed, you know. And if you find an engine that has water in it, remember I showed you that thing, that bike motor I showed you had waterlogged? That's the crankshaft bearing. Right there. Remember I told you guys? Probably got a bad bearing in it. Don't ever trust an engine with it's been sitting out in the water. This had all the bearings in it, but when I took it out, it all fell apart. So this is the wrist pin gauge. Should look like. Okay. Should look like. Should be it should look like that. Nice bearing. Here's what it looks like now because it's all in the rust. And it's sitting in water. Isn't that crazy, guys? So engines that have been taken apart and sitting for a long period of time, in the water, that's what can happen. So as a result of some of the bikes I've done this past year, I counted how many head gaskets I have done to Kawasaki KE 100s, KMs, KDs, MC1s, G3s. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 head gaskets just this year. So I do a lot of these bikes and I know what I'm talking about. So make sure you tighten down that bolt with a torque wrench. Okay? And this is only bikes that I've done top ends to. Okay? These are only from bikes I've done top ends to. Keep that in mind. So that means I've worked on a lot of other bikes that I've never had to pull the stuff apart on. Keep that in mind. Now you know how many bikes of these I do. So if I tell you to torque something, I'm telling you to torque it because of experience. Okay? Not because it's the proper thing to do. It is the proper thing to do. But you should definitely listen to what I'm telling you. Torque your bolts. Okay? I do these videos to give you guys specifications and to do things properly in the correct way. And you can see right here from the rack of KE, KDs, KMs, head gaskets. I deal with a lot of them. Okay? I deal with a ton of these bikes. So make sure you tighten your stuff properly. Follow my instructions, follow my videos. I've been there, I've done it, I've got it down. I know the system, I got all the specifications in every video I do. That's, a repair, I give you all those specs. Okay, so make sure you have that. And I'm coming up with a new wall. I want to show you guys my new wall. It's coming up right here. So you can see part of it. The UNI air filters that I use. The Wiseco pistons. And these people right here are just awesome. Alright, Vito, this is the, what do you call it? Vito's Performance Racing. I am not sponsored by them. I don't get paid for any of this type of stuff. But I like to share the information with you guys. Sorry my camera, I can't seem to bring the video down. It's, what do you call it there? Oh, there we go. Okay. This is where I'm going to be putting all my stickers of the companies that I use and where I get my parts from. this wall right here is going to get bigger. I mean, there's a few names that are not on here that are on my ultrasonic cleaner. And I'm going to be moving those off here, like all ball bearings. So you're going to be seeing that in the background. And you can go to these companies and get parts, okay? The UNI, the air filters I always use. I'm going to bring it into the light, you know, on another video when I get some more stickers on there. But, yeah, this, what do you call it? The Vito's Performance Racing. Let me shut this light off here, see if I can, there we go. Let me see if I can get it out for you. Like I said to you guys before, I'm not sponsored by these people, but I have used their products. Okay, so the UNI is the air filter company. These are where I get my air filters for my KEs, my KMs, my KDs. They're great air filter. I have a used one. I'll go grab it real quick. I keep it in the bag because it's you know, it's still good, but it's a nice quality air filter, foam filter. It's the paper mesh inside there. It's got the nice gaskets around them. They're top quality. I mean, these things fit right in there. You have to, you know, force them in a little bit. They fit perfectly. You know, just, you're not like force them, but they fit perfectly. So you have to really just, you know, give them a shove in there. And they make them for both of the R-style bikes, the KEs, which take the big ones like this, and they even make the what do you call it? You can see the little green one in there for the what do you call it there? This is a dirty one, but for the KDs and KMs, you know. So it's a good quality air filter. So if you get a chance to pick one up, there you go. Wiseco pistons, you guys see me use those in my videos. Great piston, top of the line. I mean, you ain't gonna get better. If it doesn't say Wiseco, you ain't got a good piston. And also too, your bike will not run right if you don't put the decal on your bike. And of course, Vito's. I wanna show this off because I wanna get this on this. You guys can get this information. This is the company I got my power jet from, and they make jet kits and everything else. And there's their contact at the bottom. Give them a shout and tell them, you know, you saw it on my video. Okay, it's a really good company, and they sent me a jet kit that was the wrong one, and I called them back. Really nice to talk to. Right, in fact, I called that number right there on the phone, the 248-969-9168 number, and real professional on the phone. Yep, hold on, let me take a look at the order. Oh, yep, I see what's happened. No problem. I'll send another one right out to you. Just like that. No question, no problems. It was just real simple. The way you want to do business, you know. And they sent it right out to me. I mean, they mailed. It was in the mail that day. So, 2 thumbs up. Okay, and they have the adjustable power jet that I used in my video on my KE carburetor for my KE 102, and it's a universal what do you call it there, power jet. It's great. So I can't wait to do a video with it running on there and do that, but I showed the installation on it, so keep that in mind. There's a few things, you know, that I use. And Lucas oil, this is another product that I use a lot of, and it's a great product. It works great in our bikes, and as you guys know, you're always looking for a good quality oil. And well, don't get scammed with the, you know, when you see something like this, it's in black, right, and it looks cool, power blend. Okay, this is for a chainsaw. It's not the same stuff. Okay, low smoke, it's not. It's a different kind of oil. Okay, that right there is for chainsaws. That right there is for everything. Even though sometimes they'll say chainsaw on them. Like, for instance, this Lucas, you can use that in a chainsaw. But it's designed for a bike. You see what I'm saying? Some of these are compatible with boats. But this one's compatible with air-cooled. So unless your boat's air-cooled, this is the oil you want. The other product I use a lot of is Permatex. So, like I said, I'm not sponsored by these people. That's my disclaimer on it. But it's a product that I use a lot of and I trust. So, a couple good products to give a shot to and give a shout out. So, hopefully this right here helps you guys out with a little bit about what's going on with, you know, with torque and bolts and specifications. I give these specifications in my videos so you guys don't ruin your bikes. Okay? The purpose of my videos is to help you guys with your bikes, not destroy them. So please follow the instructions. That way you don't run into what happened with this guy. Because that little mistake, not torquing the bolt, is going to run that guy about $300 to $400. Okay, if he had to rebuild that motor. Luckily I got the motor for parts. However, if he didn't, it would run him $300 to $400 just to fix that. You're talking a crank, a rebuild. Once you take a crank out, you're going to want to do bearings and seals. You know, so you're looking at some money. And not to mention, you can't ride your bike. Why? Because you didn't torque down the bolt. One bolt, one most important bolt on the whole entire bike, and didn't torque it down. Messed up his timing and everything else. Stripped out his crank. He's like, oh, can I add washers? No, you can't. It's junk. You stripped it out. There's no threads left. If you can't torque it down to 36 foot-pounds, that's just going to keep happening. And you should have heard it run. Oh my God, it was awful. At first I was confused about what was going on with it, the way it was running. And then I'm like, that doesn't sound right. So then he drove it, and he comes back, he's like, yeah, it's stalled. I can't restart it. Went to kick it, it's backfiring, sputtering. And I noticed that the flywheel was just spinning freely at that point. I'm like, oh, yeah, your timing's way off. And sure enough, broken flywheel key. Well, anyway, guys, that's all I have for you for tonight. I just figured I'd share a few things. And, you know, make sure you torque those flywheel bolts. 36 foot-pounds, it's imperative. Alright? And as you can see from, these are just my head gaskets I've done. Okay, this ain't even just the repairs. A lot of the bikes I've worked on didn't even need head gaskets. So keep that in mind, okay? And don't throw these away. These are good gasket scrapers. Yes, you heard me right. Gasket scrapers. When you're doing your clutch, if you keep a couple of these copper gaskets will not scratch the aluminum. Okay, they will not cut into your skin. Look at that. You can see I'm going right into my skin. It's not gonna cut me, but it will scrape a gasket, and that is pretty darn cool. You can remove gaskets with copper head gaskets, and use the edge right here to get in those fine places to right around pins and stuff. So it's a great tip. That's why I keep my head gaskets. I don't ever throw away a head gasket. I never reuse them. You know, some of these are just blown. You can see how they're warped, and this one's discolorized. You know, I did a top end. This one right here, it was stuck on the head. I had a hard time getting it off. And you can see different stories on them, you know. But they're all just, you know, this one right here uses a gasket scraper already. Doing a clutch. So yeah, don't throw away your gaskets. Keep the copper head gaskets. They come in handy. You can recycle these. So it's pretty funny just looking at back how many I did in 1 year. I can't tell you how many of these I threw away. So, yep. Keep your head gaskets. They're good gasket scraping tools, and you can keep them for your car. If you're working on a car and you're doing a valve cover, those come in handy. Don't use a blade on your car because you're going to cut into the aluminum, and it's a pain in the neck. Then you end up with a leak. With those right there, you don't. And I've been a mechanic now for quite a long time. Intake gaskets. These are awesome for doing coolant systems. When you're doing a thermostat, and you know how you have to clean up the gasket surface. It's a pain in the neck. Not with a copper head gasket. So, good tip for you. So remember, torque your bolts. Thank you guys. Please subscribe. And guys, 298 subscribers. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your support and watching these videos and just going on this journey with me. We're going to get these bikes and we're going to keep doing them. And I'm going to keep sharing faults, and I'm going to keep sharing tech tips and tricks. And you know, you wouldn't be surprised. I've been trying to figure out how many videos and what videos I can do on these bikes, and they keep popping up. And tomorrow night we're gonna finish off this motor right here. We're gonna put the side cover on, and get, you know, got the oil pump and all that. So I dug out the gear for the oil drive on that motor right over there. So that's gonna be tomorrow night, or maybe not tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow night, but what do you call it? I put the drive in just to. There's a key in there too. Make sure you get the key, you know. So I gotta clean this all up. But there's a flywheel. There's a key in there, and basically I just set it right in there, just like that. And that's the gear that drives your oil pump, right there. So when you turn this, it turns the whole thing. Okay. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. Have any questions or comments, by all means, please send them my way. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.